And you're right. I'm wrong.
All right. Well,
What's happening, man?
welcome to Turn 4 Talks with Pop and Nate. Sorry to cut you off this time, but
No worries,
I
man.
always lead.
It's what we do.
Rolling into the weekend, it was a great Atlanta race. I think there was a lot of fun in all three series, a lot of cool storylines, not even just the big ones, but I definitely think there was a lot to cap off. And I'll start off with the trucks. Did you have anything that stuck out to you, or anything that caught your mind, or?
Impressive, I gotta say. Those trucks put on a show. Didn't see Kyle Busch doing that. Free spins. Hocevar was on a run there, but couldn't believe he fell in line to help a teammate. I was impressed.
Yeah, I definitely thought the double burnout was one of the goofiest things I've ever seen. I mean, obviously, we've watched it a few times with a dual champion, a race winner, or similar situations, but very rarely, if ever, can I remember in my lifetime a guy who finished second place who turned around and did some burnouts with him. It was very brief, but even then, feeds into the host of our conversation of, man, maybe he's got to earn it a little. But at the same time, it was really cool to watch him be a team player and kind of go against the narrative and actually push somebody to the win and stick it clean and run it hard. That was a great truck race from beginning to end. So, yeah.
He made the commitment, and that was pretty cool to see. So I think that's a little sign of maturity with him here and there, as we could say. But, it's only one race.
Yeah, there's some lessons to be learned, and I think he's slowly learning them. And, as much as people want to chastise him, he's got to take some time and become that person that you love to hate. I mean, even young Kyle Busch was a mess, so it's kind of, I hate to compare drivers or their personalities or anything, but I very much see a young Rowdy in him. He's a careless driver in a sense and doesn't care about you as long as he's in the finish lane and on first place. So it's, hey, I see some moves from him. I think Sunday just proved that, but we'll get to that in a little bit shortly. But
do you think the 98 was on the pole? That was a gift from Ford for taking out the big star in the Daytona Dodge conspiracy. But I was like, hey, where'd he come from for the pole? But
well, that's a great transition to my next topic. Was Dodge has kind of been lackluster. I'll say that the biggest thing for me is outside of Justin Haley, who's a former Cup driver, so you almost expect him to do well in these other series. But when it comes to it, I think, especially, I mean, I keep knocking on the kid, but Mini Terrell is just nowhere to be found except for the back of the pack, and it's the rest of the series has just kind of been a mess for Dodge. I mean, I assume there's some learning curve and there's a lot of new things. Colleague is new to the truck series, but I'm kind of completely shocked that all the money, advertisements, and the 5 trucks they have that they haven't produced even the top 5 at this rate.
A consolation prize for winning a TV show. I personally felt there was a few people on that show that definitely were talented for that ride, but hey, gimmicks sell. But me, I hope to see him maybe on the short tracks. He'll surprise us.
Yeah, I think there's some hope eventually for the kid, but and I won't fully write him off for Dodge as a whole, but it's far cry from what we were talking on a preview episode. Alternatively, somebody I didn't have too penciled in, but I should have, is, I mean, it's been Heim time again. I mean, if you watched, he took that Robin Hood truck up to the front, and he was there all day. I think he's amazing in trucks, and he showed that he's pretty decent in the Cup Series at Daytona. I think Heim might actually be no joke, and I mean, it's probably no news to you, but he's been a lot more than I expected, so.
He's definitely a talent. I mean, you got to think he was tapped by Jordan and Hamlin. They see something in him, and 11 wins last year was impressive with a championship to wrap it up. Definitely.
Yeah, and the last little bit of truck news I had, or at least recap, was it was interestingly fun to see an Andretti truck. I mean, obviously the lineage is very wide and far at this point, but just seeing Andretti on the name panel above the door, I was like, wait a minute, and then it was very shockingly good, and he wasn't too bad, honestly. He got caught in a few small things, but for the most part, he performed well despite being mainly a road racer. So, yeah.
Is he warming up for St. Pete? I mean, that's going to be. There's excitement to that, I think. I know I listened to Lane Riggs and was like, that track's fast, tight. Like, they're weighing a lot of options. Like, how are we going to make this happen? So,
yeah.
Well, I guess we'll find out together.
Yeah, and I think we'll touch a little more on that on our weekend preview. But moving forward, the O'Reilly series, I'll start off with who hailed Ross Chastain as a hero for being the guy to take out Bobby Austin Hill and bring him. I mean, that was a stupid move from Austin Hill, but as I mentioned last week, if you're the junior quote, if you're gonna beat Austin Hill, you got to beat him and not work with him. And I think that showed, and it ended up mixing up the end of the race and making it exciting. What were your observations?
Cosin. Oh, I'm so sorry. My favorite number one, Crumple. I definitely looked fast. He looked great. I mean, I know he ended up wrecking out. Went and ate an Albi sandwich. I guess he's trying to please those sponsors, but I was hoping to see him do pretty well. There's no doubt about it. There was a couple other surprises in there. What'd you think?
You bring in that wreck with Quapple, and I think that brings to a good point is in the same sense as Mini Tyrell and Mini Me, you just end up with Corey Day is, and again, I said this at Daytona, and again, maybe we have to wait till short tracks, road courses, something different. But for the guy who's pegged as the next guy for Hendrick and running that full-time 17, he made a foolish move and wrecked essentially the 4 Hendrick affiliated cars all weekend, and it was just didn't show too well. So I mean, that was a little shake your head at it. It was kind of interesting in that sense.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I know. I just go to that one car because my tunnel vision. I'm glued to that thing, but yeah, that was a mess. I'm sure it affected him in the points, but it's still a long season.
Yeah. Obviously, the biggest storyline of the O'Reilly series this weekend was Sheldon Creed, a bridesmaid no more. And my favorite part was his quote. That was the most humble post-race interview I've ever seen. Kid got out of the car and said, "Man, I've been a loser for years, despite obviously having 130 plus starts, 15 second place finishes, and a truck championship and a bunch of wins there to boot. But, he did it finally, and he deserved to burn it down, and it was cool to see all the people excited for him. Obviously, Sam Mayer dumped it into the front stretch grass.
Damn!
Yeah, I mean, but, Creed deserves that, and despite, he was right place, right time, and made it happen. He got 1.36 million views watching that race, which is one of the highest viewpoints in the Xfinity Series in a while, or O'Reilly Series, catch me. But that was well deserved and a great finish for a good race.
Yeah, kudos to Creed. Just to pull that off. I know Chastain got a lot of slack for that run, which was odd to me. I mean, he made a run. Hill came down. I know Hill made him the new bad guy, and all of a sudden, showing up in victory lane to congratulate Creed. We know the blood they had 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, but alternatively, back to Hill. I mean, we were touching on it a minute ago, but I think he just kind of sent it and had no regard for anything. The thing that irked me the most was his post-race comments, but did you see the save that I made? And you only had to make that save because you put yourself there. So, I mean, I'll take a step back with that, but at the same time, you're only as much as you do. I mean, you are what you eat.
It was a points day. I guess that's why he was so proud of himself for the save, because he didn't end up in 36, and he brought it home in the top 10. So,
and he seemingly earned himself a couple cup starts. I mean, Pockris reported today he's going to get 5 runs at minimum, give or take, in the Cup Series. And the United Rentals 33 for Childress, and there's a lot to talk about there separately. Essentially, does he take a ride? Does he just keep running part-time? But that's for the future to tell. But all in all, I think Hill did himself in and still ended up with a decent finish. He came back in front of the pack, and it was a bunch of other observant drivers who kept it from being a mess. So, yeah.
And one more shot, man. Yo, Maya, that was nice. Good teammate, but I'm sure the guys in the shop weren't too happy.
Yeah. So we'll take a quick run at the Cup Series weekend, which was a really fun race to watch. From beginning to end, I think there was just, you were on the edge of your seat. I was standing multiple times, holding my chair, going wild. There was a lot of drivers that stuck out to me. I think notably Hocevar again was bad fast, and just kept putting himself in bad spots. And it's eventually the weights maybe will work out for him, but he reminds me very much of Chastain a few years ago, where it's live or die by the sword, and I think he just keeps getting himself too many times. If he did a little more patience, I think he's there. But as he said, you're going to shake and bake, or you're going to shake and bake with the guy behind me, and I guess nobody shook and book with him.
What do you think he's learning from that? I mean, you see him, and you think he'd start learning from some of this, but you got to give him that he's got the audacity of speed, and that move when he dove down there. I know he questioned himself later, but I didn't see anything wrong with that, man. The door was open.
No, I think in a similar sense to Ross in the O'Reilly series, it was what in the end ended up looking like a sketchy move, but I think he really made some solid runs. I don't necessarily think that Hurricane Hocevar was too much of a troublemaker in the whole sense of things. So while everyone's harping on him, I think he just, if you, as Arton Senna said, if you see a gap, you shoot for it. If you don't, you're not a real race car driver.
If Bell saved it at all in that corner, I think that's part of it. Was Bell hit the wall and caused the caution, but that 77 would have went straight through to the front and had a nice run on them. But it's the way the chips fall.
And considering wrecking or borderline spinning it and saving it, you gotta love SVG. Given Ginsburg, the first time, Larson, who literally admittingly just made a move out of instinct and it didn't work out, took him through the grass, and then later in the race, SVG, obviously, the funniest thing about that was watching that you could see as he was spinning through the tri-oval, he was just parallel with his tire tracks from the first time. But he still ended up with a top 10 finish. I think
that quote I heard him on the radio saying he might as well have been driving a Catawba all week. The tractors that sponsored him, because that was I thought that was pretty funny because he did plow some grass there.
Yeah, I give him a lot of credit. He went through it a few times, but he's got that little quote or the little picture on the back of his helmet of him with the learning ovals and the little book, and I'm almost willing to say that I think he might have it down. 3 weeks in a row, 3 ovals, the short track and 2 super speedways. I'd be scared if he figures it out, because he might be a threat.
The Burgermeister, we saw at Martinsville just dropping back to the end of the season. Like, he figured out how to diamond those tracks on that track, and he was definitely giving them a run for the money. So kudos to him, man. There's no doubt about it. There's a lot of haters out there. Oh, road course, but he's definitely rising.
Alternatively, somebody who had what I think was a very quiet day despite all the hype and namesake is Chase Elliott. He was great stage 1. He was literally up there battling for the lead, and then they made that pit mistake, but unlike everyone else, he never shuffled back up to the front. He got up to 4th a few times, but for the most part, if you were watching the standings through most of stage 2 and the finish of the race, you'd find him about 10th to 15th, and he just didn't seem to have a car or the will to drive through the field like anyone else. And Tyler Reddick will show you that obviously having a good car, but there's a point in which that field was shuffling a lot.
There was one part in that second stage where he went to the bottom to go for the lead, and that 45 dove down and shut the door on a block. And I just watched that 9 back up into like 6th, 7th place, and it didn't seem like he moved forward like that again. But I don't know if he was like, you know what, let's wait. You know, he did the Kyle Busch of the 500. Let me back up because these guys are too racy at that time. It's just a point. But there were moments there I saw that car run good, but I don't know if that new points thing is sitting in their heads too a lot.
I mean, Chase has been consistently for the last few years the guy who finishes 3rd to 10th and gets the points. And maybe in this point system, it's going to pay off. It's obviously not exciting not to see your favorite driver win or one of the most popular drivers win every weekend. But, in 30 races, are we going to be talking a different conversation because he's up there with points-wise? Maybe the case. So, I mean, you can't argue that too much.
Best Hendrick car last 2 weeks. I mean, Daytona, don't get me wrong, middle of the race, but towards the end of the race, he shuffled to the front for the 500. He shuffled to the front for this race. It's something. It's not everything, but, something to look at.
And continuing on the points conversation, I think an interesting note is Bubba. For all the Bubba haters out there, it's he has proven that this year, all the 23XI cars are running quick, but he has proven and been heartbroken twice in a row. I think Bubba is not going to be a slouch this year, and you can't count anyone in for the 16 in the point standings here. But I think he might be a winner this year and definitely earn his way in. He's been so close, and even since the Brickyard last year, he's proven that he's a changed driver in a lot of senses too. He's just focused more on getting through it, and as we're talking with Hocevar, there's a lot of adaptations you have to make to be a successful long-term Cup driver.
He's second in points. I mean, that says it all. It says his drive. I mean, and your heart broke for him because he rolled up for that block and the car just kept going. It didn't grab, I guess, is what it was. And, you wonder if he would have stayed on the bottom with Reddick with the push. And there was a little feat, I don't know if you guys caught it with Reddick. He was saying how that car in the pack was great. But when he blew past everybody, he said that damaged fender helped him because his car didn't stretch out. Because normally that car gets such a run, they stretch out. So Briscoe couldn't get a run on him because he which was a little thing I heard in an interview, which I haven't really heard much people talk about, which I thought was some pretty good, interesting feedback about that.
Yeah, I think it was interesting because when in the modern era have we seen a car with the damaged right front like that win at a super speedway? I can't really say if ever. And on a side note / tangent, I think it is really neat that Lionel Racing is going to offer the die-cast with the missing fender in 1/24th. The 1/64ths are going to still be as they are with the weird painted over as they've made for the last few years. But it shows at least a minor improvement in the Lionel die-cast for at least trying to offer a better Checkers of Records winter car. So, hey, I give them kudos there as they're getting acquired by a new company. But, yeah.
It was like Chase with the melted flat tire. Remember that? And that one time? I think that was whatever, going down that road.
Yeah. The last Cup observations I had were that the RFK cars were bad fast. I think in a similar sense to Bubba, the results have sort of shown, but I think that we can definitely look for some Priest and some Buescher in our future. And if they don't, then I'd be a little surprised.
Zane Smith, I mean, he's just had some good luck and some front row motorsports. That's a fast car. I mean, I know the 34 hasn't been shining like that, but you got to appreciate those underdogs like that sometimes, but he's feeling it.
Yeah, I guess I kind of was half forgot he was up there, but I mean, he was battling tooth and nail for most of the second stage onward in that top 5, top 10. I mean, he got shuffled out a few times, but he's shown that he's a force. I mean, he was always good on those tracks in the Truck Series, and he took the step back to go back to trucks and then back to Cup, and I'm not too surprised to see his name up there. And arguably, anyone can say in better equipment, maybe hear his name more often. But that Aaron's car wasn't just a lucky dog this weekend. So
Yeah, the road course is going to shake a bunch of these guys out. I mean, I think, I know we got that West Coast swing coming, so we'll see what it brings.
well, that brings us to kind of our pre-week preview for Circuit of the Americas. Some of the names are going to change at the front. One of my favorite quotes from Hocevar at the end of the race was, well, you're not going to see me or be talking to me in the top 5, top 10 next week. And I kind of got a good laugh out of that because it's kind of humble in the sense, even though he's Mr. Cocky. But we're expecting SVG. I mean, Ginsbergen is the man to beat. I can't tell you the last time on a betting app that somebody's had nearly negative odds for a Cup Series race. It's pretty much a lock in the eyes of Vegas, and that means not much, but at the same time, that's a lot of weight to be put in his corner. So,
what are you saying? You don't think Chris Gabehart brought over a little at 20 magic? Oh, sorry about that. I went too far. But hey, well, you never know.
Well, we'll touch on that really quick. Just in case you were genuinely missing it, we're going to Nascar round 3.
Round 3.
So, there's a lot going on, and I think there's a lot to still process. I mean, considering the previous NASCAR cases, there was too much to reel in, and your average person just still couldn't take it in. It takes a lawyer to get it. But this is going to be an interesting way to play it. Plays out. I mean, Spire's been quick this year, but hey, we'll see how that shuffles. Anyone you're looking forward to for CotA though, for the upcoming weekend?
I'm a broken record. The 9 last year, that car was a rocket, and Chastain did the dump bump, and he drove that thing all the way back up to the front. I mean, respectable finish. So I'm hoping he gets a good clean start and starts kind of where he is. But we know, I don't know. Briscoe's been surprising lately, so I'm kind of curious. Do you think the 2311 cars are going to be like doing anything?
Reddick and Bell, besides Chase, and obviously Van Ginsberg, are the top 4 drivers in average road course finishes in the next gen. And Reddick hasn't had the wins to show for it, especially because of Van Ginsberg. But the truth is, Reddick has a top 5 in most, if not all, of the next gen road course races in the last year and change. I think that while I don't necessarily want to see it a three-peat, I mean, I wouldn't count Reddick out. And obviously, Bell isn't coming out of nowhere. The kid's been, not even a kid anymore, but the kid's been dominant on road courses for years in his own right. It just takes the right break and the right people and the right timing, and that's racing at its heart, as much as I want to say it. So
it's sad that we're leaving the Dinger's name out in his Chevrolet bodied car, but I miss him. He put on a show, but
I won't write him off entirely. I mean, you definitely see him running top 10 for sure through the weekend, but I think that we mentioned during the Clash, and I made a joke about it, but he didn't seem to need Chevy support. But I think as the season's gone on, even 2.5 weeks in now, it's shown that having Chevy support is going to be a big deal. But then again, I mean, that guy can wheel a car. I think the other person sticking out to me that's one of my big curious marks is Zilich. I mean, obviously he made his debut on...
Where he's been?
Well, I mean, he was running well at Atlanta all weekend, but one of the biggest things is everyone, if you think back to his debut race at the road course with Watkins Glen before he fell and took his own collarbone out, he nearly qualified on the pole, and he probably would have had the best cars that weekend. He's run really well on the road courses. He's the only person, at least in the Xfinity Series for a while, who seemed to give a run to his money for Van Ginsbergen. While I'm not going to pencil him in for a win, I don't think you should count him out either.
Just like any other NASCAR race, any given Sunday. I mean, you got Lawson's been really showing up on some of those. I know he's had fell flat the last 2 weeks, but we might see some fresh meat up top, and I'm looking forward to it.
I think that's one of the fun things about this upcoming season's point format is it's gonna be a week to week thing. Who's finishing well, who's doing what. It's not all about wins anymore. And I think it'll be really cool to kind of just see who plays it out and has a good season. And what might be insignificantly a fifth to seventh place finish this week might end up leading to a championship type of run later in the season. So my conclusion here is I think we're gonna have a good CotA weekend regardless. Even if your driver doesn't do well or my driver doesn't do well, but it's gonna be cool to see how it all plays out.
Last year they gave us the short course, as they say, from the long. I know it was exciting. I think a lot of the drivers liked it. I know. I mean, how'd you feel about that change? I think everyone complained about those caution laps because you seemed like it was taking a half hour to get around that track under caution. It seems to be kind of the reason they did it. But how do you feel about that track last year after that?
NASCAR went back to running the stage cautions again, so it's gonna be interesting to see how that feeds into it, especially considering that are you gonna get guys who want to flip the stages this time, or are you gonna get guys who just want to stay up front all day? It's a different game, and if I was a crew chief, I'd probably make a lot more money. But I mean, in SVG's case, yeah, I imagine him just pitting every time it makes sense for him to pit, and he'll catch anybody he has to catch.
Yeah, he runs fast out front and gave himself plenty of time to pit. So
Yeah,
he's one driver I think we've seen that flipped the whole script on that short pit and stuff, right?
yeah, I think it'll be fun. Looking forward to the truck series at St. Pete. I think that'll be a very weird mix to finally see the trucks on a street course. And, let's see how Jimmy Johnson as a crew chief does. But,
Yo, if you're there, send us pics on our, on Facebook or something, because I wish I could be there for that one.
yeah, if I was still a Florida native and I was still living there, I would definitely make the trek over. But all things considered, I'll be watching it all on TV this weekend and enjoying every minute. I hope you all do too, and thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, definitely check us out on all our social media. We're gaining ground out there, and I love you all. Send us some questions. Nothing too crazy, but appreciate you.
Yeah, make sure to hit like and subscribe if you haven't already, and help us on this journey here. If you have any interest or comments, we'd love to hear it on how to improve. And I hope you all have an amazing weekend. So thanks, y'all.
And that's NASCAR's new thing. Hell yeah. Thank you.